Injury around the ankle joint are very common in our day-to-day orthopedic practice. Sometimes it becomes so irritating and so difficult for any type of person they cannot do his daily work along with their they will hamper in their profession also. And ankle joint is such a joint that after any significant trauma or injury you cannot see anything in the x-ray, but patient cannot walk, and that if you not address it properly, patient may suffer from long standing ankle pain and patient will get multiple problem along with this. So for my resident, I want to put this PPT for your knowledge that you should not miss any injury around the ankle. Now, regarding the anatomical knowledge, you have to know regarding the ligament. Most strongest and ligament in the medial part is deltoid ligament. It has two slip, inner and outer, or superficial or deep. In the deep part there is three slip, will anterior, middle and posterior, and the superficial part will just attach from the tibia to calcaneum. Now in the lateral aspect the fibula has also a three slip. One is attached with this tibia, even the posterior part also, and another is attached with this talus. This talofibular ligament is the most common ligament which get injury in ankle sprain. Okay, and this is the tendon of peroneus brevis is attached with this fifth metatarsal base, and this is the peroneus longus tendon. Okay, now if we see the cross section, you can easily understand the uh, mm, uh, the disposition of the ligament, and this is a short note for the anatomy around the ankle. Now mechanism of injury. Most common mechanism of injury is inversion or reversion or high sprain. High sprain means any type of internal rotation, but the movement on this ankle joint or subtalar joint is complex. As a result, the injury mm, is also complex, and this complex injury has been described by Legu Hansen. But I think to memorize this two classification is not a matter of joke. So try to understand the mechanism of injury, and what are the principle to guide the patient as per their complaint. See, when there is supination of foot, there will be inversion of the foot. So the chance of injury on the fibular aspect is fast. Now, as per the mode of injury, the fracture or the injury will occur around the ankle. Now, as the force of the injury will increase, the severity of the damage will increase. Okay, and you can easily understand this is the most severe injury, this is the less severe injury, this is the very small injury. Okay, and this fracture will classify the this fracture classification will address only the not only the fracture, allowing the sprain also. Okay, and this is by pronation of the foot, so that will be associated with eversion of the foot, and that may be associated with the middle malleolus fracture. Around this ankle fracture may there are various type of classification, but among them Weber classification is also very effective. This based on the uh, syndesmotic area. What do you mean by syndesmotic area? The area in between the lower junction of the tibia and fibula. On the anatomical region, this is the syndesmotic area. Okay. Now, if the fracture below this syndesmotic line, this is called Weber type A. This is very easy to manage. But if the fracture is in this syndesmotic area, this is very difficult to manage. And if the fracture above this area, then it also very easy to manage. Okay. Now, after any type of ankle injury, you have to prescribe a X-ray. What X-ray you will prescribe? You will prescribe X-ray of the ankle joint, AP, lateral. Generally, we used to prescribe, but for special view of ankle, you have to order Mott's view. What do you mean by ankle Mott's? Ankle Mott's is a bony block created by the special type of anatomy of the distal part of the tibia and the distal part of the fibula. This is called medial malleolus, this is called lateral malleolus, with and this is the syndesmotic joint. Now within this medial malleolus and lateral malleolus there is a socket, bony socket, where the dome of the body of the talus will snugly fit, and the distance of this articular of the joint will be same both from lateral aspect, both from medial aspect. Now the anatomical disposition is quite overlapping, means this fibula will placed little posteriorly in the coronal plane. So if we see only AP view, we can see some overlapping over the medial aspect of the fibula and the lateral aspect of the tibia. Okay, and this 1 centimeter above the joint line will the main guide of your X-ray examination or assessment. But if you see only AP view, you may miss some syndesmotic injury. So how you will address it? You have to address by a Mott's view, that is 15-degree internal rotation of the ankle. Then you can easily understand the gap of the fibula and the tibia. Okay, now this ankle Mott's become very straightforward. See the normal gap over this medial aspect, the dome and the lateral aspect. So this is a clear space. Okay, now if there is any distortion of this ankle Mott's, then you have to address it by a by your assessment. And there is a very clear point, this gap on the Mott's view will easily continuous with this gap of the lateral malleolus and the talus. See, the gap of the medial malleolus from the talus is high. This is not corroborating with this, so this is abnormal. And also this gap is high, this is abnormal. Along with the orientation of the talus is abnormal, and there is a special fracture line over here. Sometimes in ankle sprain there will be no bony abnormality, but clinically what you will get tenderness over the sprained ligament, maybe medial part or maybe lateral part. Or if there is no fracture seen, you have to see for syndesmotic area, if the gap is increased or not. And if this is actually syndesmotic injury with lateral malleolus fracture along with that talar subluxation. Okay, now the bimalleolar fracture means the fracture over the medial malleolus and the lateral malleolus. This fibular fracture is 3 types: super syndesmotic, syndesmotic and inverse syndesmotic. But medial malleolus fracture, generally this transverse fracture used to occur. Now this bimalleolar fracture, the assessment of the radiological assessment is enough for planning of any operation. Now, if only lateral malleolus fracture, that can be managed by walking iron plaster. But if associated with bimanual fracture in a active patient, that need operation. Generally, in the medial malleolus fracture, after fracture, the fracture line will be displaced, and that will going in non-union. Why? Because the periosteum over this medial malleolus will be tensed. Once it gets fractured, the periosteum will invade within the fracture site, and that will cause the non-union. And for this bony injury, the ankle motor stability will hamper. As a result, the malunion and non-union over this area will occur, and malalignment of the ankle will occur, and that can cause irritating pain over this area. So you have to fix it by a implantation, and after fixing, intraoperatively we have to check this ankle mortis, the gap over here, the gap over here. Okay, and you have to check no implant should be introduced in the joint and the syndesmotic area. Regarding the most common ankle injury is the ankle sprain. There are three grading of the pain. Grade 1 is just stretching of the malleus. Grade 2 with the partial tearing of this or incomplete tear of this ligament, and grade 3 associated with complete tear along with some bony avulsion may be found. This group of ankle sprain will see laxity of the joint, and that must be addressed by suture anchor operation. And but this grade 1 is most common, 90% chance of grade 1, and in that case there will be no radiological finding, only clinical findings, tenderness over the anterior talofibular ligament. In that case, you must suggest walking iron cast for at least 1 month, and because 1.5 months, 6 weeks is minimum for healing of this tendon, oh sorry, ligament. Okay, now any type of injury around the ankle including ankle sprain, the treatment protocol is RICE protocol: rest, ice compression, and elevation of the foot. Nowadays, the walking iron plaster has been transferred by a special type of cast. This is called air cast. It is not a plaster, it is a plastic along with foam and bandage, that will transfer the weight from this foot over this leg without giving any pressure over this ankle area. This is called air cast. This is very costly, near about 5,000. Now, regarding the syndesmotic area, before going in details regarding the syndesmotic injury, you have to know some anatomy. This is the talus bone, and this is the dome of the talus body. This is the articular surface of the talus, and you have to see the middle and anterior portion of this talar dome. The width is broad rather than the posterior aspect. So, as ankle is a closed back joint, in dorsiflexion, this full dorsiflexion, the ankle mortise will accommodate this broadest portion of this talar dome. Now, in plantarflexion, the smallest portion of the talar dome will accommodate the ankle mortise. But if there is any shortening of the ankle mortise space, then patient cannot do his dorsiflexion properly. Got my point? Now, any type of ankle operation, you have to address syndesmotic injury intraoperatively. How? Because in the stress view or in the external view or in clinically suspect a syndesmotic joint injury is not enough for the treatment of syndesmotic injury. It may be miss, and most commonly this in the syndesmotic injury miss in around the ankle, because there will be no radiological sign and there will be no radiological confirmation. During any operation or during any fracture treatment, you have to see uh, the uh, the cotton test. What do you mean by cotton test? Cotton test is a special test after any bony fixation. Suppose this we are dealing with a bimanular fracture, or you are dealing with fibular fracture. Then we have to pull it by a hook of the fibula. If the on the X-ray or on the CM the gap will increase, then you have to address the syndesmotic joint. How? This is called syndesmotic screw. It will take 1 cortex, 2 cortex and 3 cortex. Do not hold this cortex, because if you hold this cortex, then if there is any movement over this joint, that can cause stress riser effect of this screw, and that can break. Okay. And how you will put the syndesmotic screw and how many? As per recommendation, above the joint line horizontally you have to put maximum 2 syndesmotic screw within the 5 centimeter of from the joint line, and it must be horizontal with this joint line, and must be from the posterior to anterior, because fibula is some extent posterior in the coronal plane of the of the ankle joint. Now this syndesmotic screw must put in full dorsiflexion of the ankle motis. Otherwise, after syndesmotic screw fixation, patient cannot do dorsiflexion properly because of the peculiarity of the anatomy. This ankle motis is not going to accommodate this white part of this talus, because when you are putting screw, then the ankle motis will squeeze, and they will not allow this one. So in full dorsiflexion you have to put this syndesmotic screw under CM control, and you have to make that patient assure that please do not wait bear up to 12 weeks, because when you are putting this screw and you allow the patient for weight bearing, there will be a chance of screw breakage and you cannot remove this. Sometimes if we put this screw in this cortex also, or this is called forecortex holding, and patient may try to bear weight, then there is a chance of stress fracture. I already told you the implant will break. So after union of this bone, you have to remove this screw, this small incision, after 12 weeks of this index surgery. Okay. Now along with this bimanular fracture, the syndesmotic injury may be found as a solo syndesmotic injury, but there are another type of injury in the ankle, that is called Massonneau fracture. What is this? This is due to the strain of the deltoid ligament, and there is a oblique fracture of the fibula above the mid portion of the fibula, or above the syndesmotic area, generally the higher level of fibula. This is called Massonneau fracture, that can be managed with walking iron cast. Now walking iron cast is special type of cast where there is two two iron bar, one lateral one medial, with a hard plastic or hard rubber over this heel, that will transfer the weight from this heel up to this leg, and it will wrap around this foot and ankle by a good cotton pad. This is called walking iron cast, and this is very handy and this is very effective procedure to manage any type of fracture or any type of problem around the ankle. Now trimalleolar fracture, it is also called Cotton's fracture. Along with this medial malleolus, along with the lateral malleolus, you have to think on the lateral view, that if there is any fracture over this posterior part of the tibia, this is also called trimalleolar fracture. If this is associated with this lateral and medial, this is called trimanular fracture. If only associated with the posterior isolated posterior fracture, may be associated with ankle subluxation. Okay. Now, on AP view, how you may miss a posterior fracture, but on AP view you have to see if there is double malleolar sign, that is the pathognomonic radiological hallmark that there is a chance of posterior malleolus fracture. See, this is the malleolar line, this is another malleolar line. This is called double malleolar sign. Okay, on radiological X-ray, on radiological assessment, if you see this, then you have to think about this posterior malleolus fracture. It is also called Couton's fracture. You have to address it properly. Now, for addressing a trimalleolar fracture, you need a good Siam base, and the recommendation, if there is any instability of the joint that can cause by this trimalleolar or this posterior malleolus, then you have to fix it. Otherwise, suppose there is a bimalleolar fracture with a very small fracture fragment, how you put it? A screw, it it cannot take a hold. If after fixation of this lateral malleolus and middle malleolus, you have to check under Siam that there is instability of the ankle joint on axial pressure. If axial pressure there is instability of the joint, and this fracture will displace, then that needs an fixation. But old guideline is, if this fracture fragment articular surface is more than 25% of the articular surface of the distal tibia, then it needs the fixation. But but now guideline has been changed. Any instability over the ankle caused by axial pressure along with this posterior fracture, you have to fix it. Okay. Now, after any type of fixation, you have to put a screw from anterior posterior or posterior anterior. First, you have to do fixation over the fibula. Otherwise, the ankle motus will not get restored, because yeah, for this position you have to put a sandbag over the hip, and on from the lateral aspect you have to put any instrument over the fibula. Then you have to go for medial malleolus, then you have to address the posterior malleolus. So there is a protocol. Now, any operation around the ankle or any implantation around the ankle needs a very good surgical skill and assessment of the timing of the operation, because the skin around this ankle is very sophisticated, and lack of lack of soft tissue, just bone below the skin and dermis, because for this reason there is chance of skin breakdown is very high, and blister is very high. So if you can do any operation after appearing of the wrinkle sign over the ankle, then you will be safe. Otherwise, you have to wait for few days. And after any implantation, as there is a skin bone area, you have to do the suture with a atraumatic suture. This is called Algor Donati atraumatic suture. This is the normal matte suture, but in Algor Donati suture, what we have to done, this is called atraumatic suture. We have to take this dermis except the epidermis, and it will apposite automatically, and it will help for good healing without any damage of the vascularity of the underlying skin. Okay. Now, all the fracture may be associated with this type of dislocation of subluxation. You have to address it properly, and you have to take both AP and lateral view, and you have to judge it. Now, a special type of subluxation or dislocation around the joint is subtalar dislocation. It is extremely rare. In my orthopedic career, 15 years, I have seen only one case during my house staffship. Okay, so if you can get it this type of ankle deformity following a trauma, fall from height or during playing football, you have to take a X-ray. So in the clue of the subtalar dislocation, ankle motifs will be normal, but you can see the talar head, you can see the talus normal, but after that the whole foot will displace medially. And on the lateral view, you can assess the talus um, and the calcaneum will overlap. These two signs will suspect in the case of subtalar um, subluxation or dislocation, and the talonavicular joint will be disrupted. Okay, this is called talonavicular. This talonavicular joint will be disrupted on the lateral view, and the talus and the calcaneum will overlap, and that can be reduced easy, very with anesthesia or without anesthesia, by just holding this foot and give a lateral sprain, then it will automatically reduce. And after reduction, you can put a walking iron plaster or slab. Better to give a slab because a chance of compartment syndrome is there, but do not allow that patient for weight bearing at least 6 weeks. That will help for reconstruction or remodeling and repair of the torn ligament. Okay, now in the pediatric age group, there is a special type of fracture around this ankle is called triplane fracture, or there is this is actually the complex type of physeal injury, both Salter Harris type 2 with a metaphyseal fragment along with a Salter Harris type 3. Okay, and this most commonly found in the pediatric age group. Why it is very special? Because this fracture is in the three plane. One, this uh, this is the plane with the horizontal with the joint line, then vertical with the joint line by this distal part of this epiphysis of the mm, of tibia. Then there will be also a fracture over this metaphyseal region. So three plane fracture. This is called triplane fracture. And how we address it? By putting screw under sciam. It sometimes need open reduction also, because if you do not reduce it properly, then it can cause a malunion and it can cause huge physeal damage, and it can cause limb length discrepancy in the long run. Okay, now regarding the ankle instability, I already discussed it with you that with the help of this all ligament, patient can jump, patient can do anything with this small area of the foot. But once this ligament or any bony avulsion occur, then there is a severe pain over the joint, and that can cause problem for weight bearing. Now, on repeated discussion regarding the ankle stability, the ankle stability mainly depend on two things. One is bony and one is soft tissue. See, this is the bony block over this talus. This is the medial malleolus. Now, there along with this bony stability, there is a stability of the deltoid ligament. Here, there is a bony stability of the lateral malleolus along with this lateral fibular collateral ligament. Now, on further discussion, if there is any fracture around this fibula and 5 centimeter proximal from this syndesmotic joint, you have to fix this ankle mortise. Otherwise, the ankle will lose its stability, and that can cause ankle pain and deformity in the long run. Okay, so this area is very important. But I just want to share a small story of my a case series. There was a case of a tumor around the distal part of the fibula, and MRI, it involved the lateral malleolus. There is a case of chondrosarcoma. As a rule, I have to remove the whole distal fibula or lateral malleolus, along with the lateral malleolus. Now, on literature review, I can see there are some cases where they can go for sacrificing this uh, lateral malleolus. But in our standard textbook support, they have also told to maintain the ankle stability, you have to put some lateral bony support. So there is a technique to turn the proximal fibula over this lateral malleolus, and I am to put it a screw over this area. But I think this will be very difficult for this type of patient, because there is a chance of peroneal nerve injury when we will taking the graft from the proximal fibula. Now, as this tumor surgery needs a huge time, so after that, if you go for reconstruction, there will be very shortage of the tourniquet time. So after review of literature support, I just see one thing. There, the lateral stability of this ankle joint is just fibula will act like a curtain. Curtain means lateral strain is required the ankle. If we can repair this lateral aspect of this fibular collateral ligament, then it will help for ankle stability, because there is a huge good bony block um, over the talus with a tibia with a strongest deltoid ligament. Now what I have done the resection of the distal part of the fibula. After this, patient can do his proper ankle movement. Okay, and on the follow up in the 2 years down the line from the index surgery, patient can bear weight easily without any pain. Even patient can do his normal daily work. He is a manual labor. He can squat, he can jump also. Now I as there is a recommendation about the ankle fixation, so to establish this, this is the x-ray of that patient. To establish this, I search for multiple literature. Then I conclude that if you can do a good soft tissue repair over the lateral aspect, that will help for maintain a ankle stability. Okay, and I will give you the information update within 1 year, and this study is going on in medical college Kolkata. But this is not your concern. You have to think about the normal and most commonly ankle the injury around the ankle, and how to address them properly, and how to diagnose it properly. Okay, so I think I can cover the all topic around the ankle joint.